Hey guys, welcome to your first day of your Ride Better by Springtime program. Today we're going to focus on stability and strength. Mainly the stability part. Strength just comes in so you can actually hold the stability. On a horse, your main thing is holding stable when the horse is moving underneath you and knowing how to do that. Your proprioception to the ground, to the horse, everything around you. That's the key to riding. It's not actually just being the best at everything. It's actually just knowing where your body is and what to do to adjust, to feel things. So we're gonna do just a quick little warm up. Just march in place right here. We're gonna do little arm swings. As your arms go back, tighten your core so you're not arching that back. Now we're gonna do some hip circles. We're stretching back and forward. As I'm doing this, I'm not letting my body rotate. I'm trying to keep my body straight to the front. Right here. Good. All right, now we're gonna do arm circles. Stretch it back and forward. My thumb is leading to the back, it's rotating to the ground. And again, now we're gonna go two together. Back, forward. Now we're gonna do a little chest stretch here. One more time together. Back, forward, open up here. Now just a little hip flexor stretch. So you're stepping back, you're dropping this knee, and then you're pushing your hips forward. As you squeeze this butt cheek that's in the back, you should start to feel your hip flexor stretch. As you sit a lot all day, whether it's at a desk or driving, we're gonna do the other side, your hip flexors get shortened. This is a good case of why your legs go too far forward or they start to swing a lot. As you're riding, you can't keep them in position because they're really tight and just holding in place and you're not able to move around them. So we want to make sure we stretch those out every day. All right, so today we're going to be doing a lot of single side activities, a lot of balance, one side and then the other. This whole workout can be done without weights. You can add weights to up the ante. So I have just a pair of really light weights. You can have no weights, light weights, or use the resistance bands too. I would rather see you do no weights to start and get your balance, get your form first before you move on. This first one is going to be a single leg deadlift. So if you have a weight and you're ready to use it, you're going to stabilize yourself, kick this foot back, and you're reaching down. Now as you do this, you're not going very much far below your knee. So you're stopping about knee to mid-shin, no more, and coming up. Also, we're not letting this lower back arch. We're gonna roll those hips under and go down. So we're gonna stay just on one side and then we'll go to your other. Anchor that foot down, not letting the hips move around. So feel them, get them straight, hold your core tight. And we're gonna start down and up. Squeeze your butt at the top. Down and up. Nice and slow and controlled. I'd rather see you go slower than my pace than rushing through and falling all over the place. So slowing down is fine. You don't have to stay on pace with me. You don't have to do the same amount of reps as me. We're just going a little at a time here. If you get unstable, tap your toe. You can tap it in the back and tap it in the front. I want to see you squeezing that butt up top. Squeeze that booty. Let's do two more. One, good, two, good. All right, we're gonna keep everything the same. We're going into a reverse lunge. So as you step back, don't go straight in a line. Keep your feet apart and keep that back foot straight. So I don't wanna see that toe turning out to rotate the hip. We wanna keep everything straight like we would on a horse. And then you're just gonna go straight down and up. You can add in a little step. Back and up. The step back is just as important because I don't want you arching your back as you're doing it. I want you being able to control how far you step, knowing where your body is to know that I stepped too far and it made me arch my back. So step, drop, up, together. If the step back is too much, you're just gonna take that part out and just stay here and go up and down. Two more. Slow and controlled. The one weight takes us off balance a little bit, so we have to ride it out. Same thing, other side. Tighten your core, tuck your hips under, stabilize yourself without moving your hips side to side. I also want to see you trying to keep your eye focused down, a couple feet in front of you. I don't want you cranking your neck to look up. I'll tell you if I change anything, I promise. Tighten your core, shoulders back. So again, I like to do a lot of things barefoot because it makes your foot work a little more. The foot is such a big component when you're riding. You're just balancing on a little stirrup. That's all you got under your foot. So the more it can stabilize itself and help you out, the better you're gonna absorb the bounce of the horse. One more. Good. So we wanna absorb the shock of the horse, the bouncing, the movement. We also wanna get the balance in. We don't want our toes out, our knees in. We don't want our feet doing funky things. It's gonna be the bottom base of everything. If your hips or your feet are awkward, everything else is gonna start crumbling underneath you. So again, my foot is straight back. I'm going up and down here, straight up, straight down. Let's add that step. Back, down, up, together. So if you need to stay just at that up and down, stay there. If you think you can add the step up and together, I'd like to see that. It just adds that next little oomph. Good. Let's go 2 more after this. I'm squeezing this butt cheek. Keeping your hips nice and straight. Good. Last one. All right, shake it out for a second. We're going to go back through everything. We're just gonna add on a little bit. So this time, we're gonna do our deadlift, just like we did, but now we're adding the balance. So we did our deadlift, and now we do a knee raise. So we're increasing that balance. As we're here, we don't wanna be leaning and crossing our hips up to one side or the other. We wanna stay nice and controlled here. If you need a step, you tap in the back, you can. If you need a tap in the front, try to get that knee raise. If you need to stay with where we were at, or stay with just tapping up and down, find your starting point. Your starting point is key. So we don't want to see you going above your starting point when you're not ready and just have things fall apart. Same thing with the horse. You don't want to ask too much in the beginning. All right, here we go. Deadlift to knee raise. We're adding in a little bit more balance. We're adding in a little bit more core control. Again, you can do this with no weight. You can do this with taking this knee raise out. You can be tapping in all your places. So you might be ready for the knee raise, but not ready to float through. There's always a place for you. Always a place for you to grow to and go back to if you need it at any point. We're getting 2 more. Last one coming up. Floating. We're not letting this knee lock out. Good. All right, we're gonna go straight into our lunge, but this time we're adding a leg extension in the back, right here. As we do this, you're not looking to really kick that foot up and arch the back. It's just a little one. So go ahead and start with me. You're going to lunge down, up, lean forward, leg raise. So now we're just floating into it. Lean forward, leg raise. If you can, you're not setting your foot down until you come back in. So I want to see this nice lunge. You're pushing your weight forward. You're raising that leg by squeezing your butt. And then you're rocking your weight back before you set your foot down. So take your time here. Tighten your core. Change your body position and weight. Rock it back. Go back down. So you're trying to be as smooth as you can. Let's do one more. As smooth as you can. Good. So everything's about smoothness. It's not about speed. It's not about anything else. Being smooth and in control. I don't care if you lose balance or anything like that. We just want to see the smooth and control portion of it. If you fall down in between, it's fine. Pick yourself back up. All right, same thing, other side. We're gonna start with our single leg deadlift. Control to our knee raise. Tighten the core. Now again, your body is always gonna wanna compensate for you. Just because it's compensating doesn't mean it's actually helping. So you might think you're doing something right, but your body is adjusting somewhere else as opposed to where you want. You might think you're balanced, but your hips might be cockeyed. Your hips might be twisting. So I'd rather see the little taps to ensure you're nice and straight. Good. Keep the heel down. Don't walk out this leg on the bottom. We want a little bend, just like you would in the saddle. You don't want your legs all the way straight. You want to be able to absorb the shock. Stay balanced. Tighten the core, don't arch the back. Good. All right, we're going straight into that lunge. Lunge, rock forward, little lift. Settle it back down. So I don't want to see a big drop and catch at the bottom. I want to see this slow reach back, control down. Good. Tighten your core, roll your hips under. I'm going to be saying that all the time. I'll also say it extra because I'll catch myself, feel it. So I want to make sure you're doing your double check. Last one here. Good. All right, shake it out. You made it through block 1. We have 2 more blocks. All right. Next one's going to be a little bit more upper body. We're doing some chest press and we're doing some marching. So it should go a little quicker. First one, down on the ground. We're going chest press, but we're doing it dead bug style. So that means you're going to roll your hips under and lift your feet right here. Again, you can do this with no weight. You can do this with a very, very light weight, or you can put the band under your back and do it with the band. So again, I just have my light weight, tightening my core. The weight, I'd like to see some kind of weight because it's really going to set you off balance. We're just going straight up, straight down, right here. Tightening my core, keeping my legs nice and bent. My feet are flexed just like they would be in the stirrups. So my heels are down. I'm not letting them just dangle. I actually have some pressure into them. Tighten my core, roll my hips under a little bit more. I want my weight right over my chest. So I don't want it coming up too high or too low. Right at my chest. Good. Control it down. All right, shake it out. You're just going to do the same thing, other side. Roll your hips under, pick your feet up, get the nice position. I don't want them too high or too low. Nice tabletop. And start. Chest press, control it up, control it down. So I don't want you just flopping to the bottom. All about control. So the single weight is taking you off balance. You should feel that side working a little harder to control it. Right in your core region. Control up, control down. Doesn't have to be a very heavy weight for you to feel this one. 2 more. 1 and 2. All right. All right, this time we are doing our carry. So again, if you have some kind of weight, I don't care if it's a can of vegetables out of your pantry, you can do overhead. This one's gonna take the most amount because your lower back is gonna want to arch to help you, and you have to keep your hips rolled under. You can go shoulders, or you can go down at your side, making sure you're not letting it pull you down. So pick your poison here. And all you're gonna do, roll those hips under, you're gonna march. When you're ready, go ahead and start. We're just marching straight up and down. Nothing crazy. Go ahead, add a little bit bigger march if you can. Not too crazy where your hips start moving. You want to keep those hips nice and balanced, and I want you to be aware of your hips being balanced, not just what feels balanced. Good. And time. All right, shake it out. Arm up, other side. Roll your hips under. Go. Straight into it. Again, don't let it lean to try to keep it. You want to be nice, straight up and down. That's when mirrors do come in handy, or videotaping yourself, because what feels balanced isn't always necessarily balanced. If you watched any of the assessment videos, you'll see. All right, and time. Shake it out, catch your breath. We're gonna repeat those and add on. That's why when I'm adjusting people on their horse, their hips will be uneven or something will be crazy, and you'll be telling them push it down, and they'll feel like they're about to fall off the side or fall backwards or wherever I'm adjusting them, and you can feel them not very comfortable. They feel like they're totally off balance, but I make them stay with it, and after a few days they actually start to feel the difference and they feel more secure. But it takes that little schooling zone of this doesn't feel right, this can't be right, this is really bad, but stay with the program, and I promise it'll pay off in dividends. All right, back on your back. This time we're adding a heel tap. So we're doing the same thing with our arm, going up and down, but this time the opposite leg is going to reach for the ground. If your heel touches the ground and your back arches up, just too far. That means you're just a little tight. So we're gonna go where you can still control it and come back up, even if that's just a couple inch drop. Again, wait if you can. Roll your hips under, tighten your core, tighten as you drop, exhale as you come up. So we're just breathing slow and controlled. We're trying to stay nice and balanced. I like adding these little coordination things because horse riding is all coordination. It's all using your mind as you're doing 15 different things. So the more we can practice that now, the better it is. Let's do 2 more. If not, it gets to be really complicated if you never practice it. All right, shake it out, wiggle around. Same thing, other side. All right, feet back up, arm up. Now it's opposite arm, opposite leg. It's gonna take you a second as you switch sides. I'm on my left arm now and right foot. Again, if my back started to arch up when my heel was touching the ground, I just wouldn't go down as far. I'm tightening here as I lower down. Big exhale up. Let's go 2 more. Good. Again, if you need to go slower pace, go slower pace. All right. We're going back to that carry. Again, either overhead, shoulder, or down. But this time, instead of marching in place, we're just gonna walk forward and back. Still be walking forward and back, switching your legs each time. That overhead weight or uneven weight, because you're just gonna have one, is gonna make you want to adjust, but you have to do that with your core and everything else, keeping it even. Here we go. I'm gonna go overhead again. We walk forward, we walk back. Now I want you to pay attention to your feet. Make sure your feet are staying nice and straight. Because if your feet are starting to rotate, that means your hips are rotating, your knees are rotating, lots of other things are accommodating that foot rotation. So we don't want to be taking too big of steps. We don't want our feet going all over the place. We don't want our hips going all over the place. And done. Shake it out. We're going other side. Roll it out, whatever you need to do. Arm up, shoulder, or down, wherever you are. No leaning. Keep yourself nice and straight. Even use your hands, whatever you need to. And we're walking. Tighten your core so your lower back doesn't arch. Paying attention to your feet. Paying attention to your elbow, keeping the weight nice and centered. My elbow starts to buckle in a little bit. Good. One more. And done. All right. Overhead adds a lot more shoulder. So even if you have it here or down, you don't want it dragging you down, but here you don't want to be overreaching either. All right, guys, you've made it to your third and final block. This one we are adding in legs and arms at the same time for your 2 exercises. All right, first one, we are going side lunge. So when you do a side lunge, your feet are facing the same direction at all times. So as I step out, still the same direction. Nothing has changed, and I'm going down. I'm not going down because my upper body is going down. I'm going down because my hips are moving and my knee is moving. My upper body isn't necessarily changing. As I do this, I don't want to be going, I want to stay nice and straight. All right, that's all we're doing. You can do this again, no weights. If you're ready, add a weight. Feet step, rock down and up. If this step is too much on your knees, you are just going to stay right here and just push your weight back and forth. If you can, add the step. It'll add a little bit more inner and outer thighs for you. Good. Slow and controlled. When you step, you don't want to just fall into it. I want it, again, slow and controlled, just like we did on the lunges. Also, you don't want to stick that hip way out to the side. Drop the hip. So I'm dropping it down and back. Reaching my butt almost for the wall here, as opposed for the side wall. Keeping your feet straight. Good. All right, same thing, other side. Reaching it down. One side might be easier than the other. Tighten your core. Making sure we're not swinging too much. And we're stepping directly straight across. So we're not going at an angle anywhere. I'll see a lot of angular steps, and I'll see a lot of toe turning. So I want everything straight. Hip goes back. Tighten your core to get that to happen. 2 more. Good. Last one. Again, you don't have to keep up with my pace. Slow down if you want to. All right. Now this one has a little more to it. We're going to work that back. So the back, again, is all about your posture. Shoulders are back. You're in your posture on your horse. That's the muscles we want to use. We want to be able to pull these muscles back so your lower back doesn't try to take over. When your coach says shoulders back, you don't do it with your lower back. You actually do it with your upper back, and you know you're doing that, and you know you're using the correct muscles. You know you're using the correct muscles when you give the horse a cue, as opposed to arms. We're actually using our back. So this one, we are going to hinge right here. As we do this, take your fingers and actually push your hips back. Okay, that's the hinge motion. Tightening my core, I'm rolling my hips under. So my hips can go back and my hips can still be under. So I'm not here. Okay, so I'm not just sticking my booty back, I'm actually pushing it back. That makes sense. Now we're gonna step 1 foot back, and we're gonna go right here with our arms. So I'm not coming straight arms like I'm flying. I'm coming back like I'm pinching between my shoulder blades. That's the movement we're looking for, right here. Okay. Now we're gonna do that and add the weights. Here we go. So tighten your core, hips under, hinge forward, step back, and fly. So again, you can easily do this with no weights. If you are using any kind of weights, I don't want you just swinging them up and down. That means they're too light and you're losing control of them. Step up and back. As you do your step, I don't want you rocking all your weight to one side in order to get your foot back. I want you focusing on keeping your weight nice and centered. You can add a little stand up in the middle if you need to get out of the bent over. It can kind of reset you with your core and your lower back. So if you feel like you're starting to put a little strain into the lower back, I'll see the stand up and back in. All right, shake it out. All right, guys, we're going through that round one more time and you're done. But as you know by now, we're adding on to it. If that was your limit, do that same thing. Don't up the ante here. But if you're ready, you're going to do your side lunge. But now we're gonna work on our control. So you shouldn't just be pushing all your weight over here where this leg's nice and loose. I want it nice and centered so you can actually bump that knee up. So we're gonna side lunge down, get that foot off the floor about an inch. All right, here we go. If you're using weight, grab it. If not, great, focus on this. Step, tighten your core, push that knee up. Slow and controlled. So this is really good for your focus. Say you are turning the horse, say you're side passing, things like that, and you're shifting your weight to one side, but you don't want to be leaning off the side of the horse. You still want to be centered on their back, but pushing towards one way. So you want to be able to right yourself at any point in time so your weight isn't too uneven. Good. Let's do one more. Step up. Good. Shake it out. Other side. Take a deep breath. Step up, down. So again, we still have to get all of our other checkpoints. Are our feet straight? Are we going in a straight line? Am I sticking my booty back? Or am I letting my hip go to the side? Am I tightening my core? Let's go two more. Slow and control, slow it down if you need to. Never rush. All right. Now we're going back into those flies. But this time, if you're ready, we're adding balance. So again, you can do this without weights because the balance is coming from our legs as opposed to one weight. So now we're doing the same thing, but instead of just tapping back, we are floating that leg, holding it. All right, here we go. We hinge, we tighten our core so our back isn't arched. I'm flying and flying. Pay attention to what your ankles are doing. Are they wanting to roll in? Are they pretty stable? What are your hips doing? Are your hips wanting to really rock from side to side? Or are you able to keep your body weight pretty much in the center? Let's do last one here. Good. Shake it out. You made it through. We are going to stretch. And we're going to stretch some big parts that get pretty contracted. First off is your chest. If you sit a lot all day, chest is going to get contracted where it gets tight and your back is overstretched. So we want to stretch this out. You're looking to grab your hands in the back and pull. As you do this, you don't want it coming from your lower back. So tuck the hip under, keep yourself nice and straight. That's how you'll actually get your chest stretched out. Slow, deep breaths. All right, let's take a big deep breath in and out. One more time. And out. Now we're going to stretch our quads. So hold on to a wall or wherever you need to and you're grabbing that foot. As you do this again, roll your hips under, so I don't want it arching from your back. Keep your knees in line. So if I'm looking at you straight from the front, your knees are touching, so I don't want you pulling that knee to the outside. I don't want you balancing out here. Keep it nice and straight, up and down, squeezing that butt cheek. Again, if you're sitting a lot, quads get tight. Hamstrings get overstretched from that position, and your quads get tight. All right, we're gonna do on the ground. We're gonna push one foot over, one leg straight, one leg's crossed. We're gonna stretch through. Go up to the sky with your head and then turn. Again, back gets really tight. The quadratus lumbus in the back will get really tight, which interferes with us tightening our cores. If your back is really arched a lot, and you'll find that in your assessment if you are, that means your abs are stretched out, which makes it harder to actually engage your core. If you've had babies, things are stretched out. It makes it harder to engage your core because they're overstretched. So you don't want to keep stretching your core out unless you just really worked them hard that day. We want to start bringing them in so you can actually control and use them. So I will see you guys for our next one, and I hope you keep at it. Bye.